Wish.
So let's see, what is happening? It's Friday. We're doing civil procedure. We love civil procedure. But let's first talk about what's going on in the great state of Alaska. Climate change litigation, right? Suing folks over climate change. This is becoming a thing that's happening now, right? And advocates are trying to figure out a way to go forward on these cases because it's such an enormous issue that it's really hard to get litigation arms around it. You know, a sufficient way to say, all right, let's sue somebody, and as a result of this lawsuit, maybe we're going to not all die in the next 25 years. The way that they have elected to do it here in Alaska is under the, is under the state constitution. The lawsuit claims that under Alaska's constitution, the state climate, like water, fish, wildlife, air, and ocean, is a public trust resource held for maximum benefit of the people. And the idea, as I understand it, is that some sort of provision in the Alaska Constitution allows you to go after the other two branches, or at least according to these advocates, allows you to go after the other two branches of state government if they are not adequately protecting those resources. It sounds kind of crazy, but a fun fact about Alaska is that they've had recreational marijuana there in Alaska for about, it's been decriminalized since 1975 because of litigation brought under Alaska's state constitution. Yeah.
Do they have alcohol up there? I thought it was illegal.
I don't know if it was there.
Oh.
Yes, they have alcohol.
Are you sure? I thought it was illegal. I thought it was illegal.
I mean, since prohibition, right? Since the post-prohibition era, as far as I know. Alaska wasn't a state. Yes, I know. All right. So, all right, back to civil procedure universe. I told you I'd give you some more time to work on those responses today. Do you guys actually need more time to work on responding? I'll give you some more time, but let's talk about line votes first. If I can give up people work to you. Oh, actually, first let's talk about cell text, right? Has everybody read cell text? We've had even extra time now to read it. Cell text, there's probably not much else to do. So let's talk about cell text. Who can tell me what the defendant's motion was, basically? The motion for summary judgment, but what did the defendant argue in that motion for summary judgment? In cell text. Who remembers? Let's back up even further. What's the case about? What's the plaintiff's case about in cell text? What's the plaintiff claim, Neil?
Wait, what page do I want to talk about it?
Don't answer a question with another question, Mr. Baker. I think you know that.
So it's whether the plaintiff's husband was actually exposed to the asbestos made by Celotex.
Right. Whether the plaintiff's husband was exposed to the asbestos made by Celotex. There's no question they had asbestos, right? The question is, who made it? Who made it? And so the plaintiff has to entertain about 15 motions or 13 motions for summary judgment on the various defendants that they brought into that lawsuit. Celotex files a motion for summary judgment. The motion for summary judgment says what? If you were Celotex, you filed a motion for summary judgment in that case, what would you say?
It wasn't me.
It wasn't me. Right. It wasn't me. And what evidence do they have to show that it wasn't them? Yeah.
They just said that she didn't have.
Right. What do they attach to their motion? What exhibits did Celotex attach to their motion? What evidence did they refer to? Whose testimony did they provide? Didn't get that from the reading?
The decedent.
The decedent?
Yeah, the position of the decedent. And a letter from an official or one of the decedent's power employers.
That's what the defendant was in?
I will shoot. I don't know.
We'll get there.
Okay, sorry.
That's right. That's right. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry.
They just say what the plaintiff was providing proof is useful. You got nothing. Basically, they say, you got nothing. You got nothing that proves affirmatively that we were responsible. So what the Supreme Court says, what this case is all about, is that by saying that, that's enough, right? In a case like this, that's enough. Saying you have no evidence to prove your claims, and then sending it back to the plaintiff. That's enough to volley it back to the plaintiff, so the plaintiff then has to say, the plaintiff then has the burden of production, and the plaintiff then has to say, well, yes, I do have the evidence, and here it is. And then, Elizabeth, what does the plaintiff present?
3 documents, including a transcript of the deposition of the decedent, a letter from official from one of the decedent's former employers, and a letter from the attorney.
And can you tell Mr. Baker what page that's on?
That is class 6.
Right, and what does the trial court say about that? So, motion for summary judgment is filed. Plaintiff says you got nothing. I'm sorry, defense says you got nothing. Plaintiff says, yes, we do. Here are these 3 documents. Here are these 3 things that we can attack. There's definitely a genuine issue of material fact here, right? Yeah.
So the district court granted the motion for summary judgment, said that there was no showing of the husband's exposure, and then the appellate court reversed it and said that the defendant did not produce evidence to support his summary judgment.
That's right. That's right. District court says, yeah, you win. There's not enough here. Not enough here to link Celotex. Even though you didn't attach any evidence and you didn't give us any testimony, you just volleyed it back to the plaintiff. That's not enough for the plaintiff to go forward with their case. Not enough. Okay. The reason we read Celotex is because that's a big shift in the way courts handle Rule 56, the way courts handle summary judgment now. It represents a big shift. Right? For the entirety of my career, this is kind of the way that it's been, where defendants don't have to provide affirmative testimony. They can just say, you don't have enough to go forward. Just.
I'm still confused as to how the district court would even begin to justify its logic, because for summary judgment, I would think, like, logically, we would have to have at least a few things that would repeat what the plaintiff is saying beforehand.
Even if not. Right? I don't disagree with that. But even if not, right? Even if there's nothing attached to the defendant's initial motion for summary judgment, the plaintiff responds with, well, here's this evidence. Maybe you don't think much about evidence. And the court looks at it and says, I don't think this evidence is very good. But how's the court supposed to view that evidence? In the light most favorable to the non-moving party, and the non-moving party in this case is the plaintiff, right? Did the court really do that? I don't know. Did the courts really do that? Important to know who your judge is before you go into summary judgment briefing? Well, yes. Well, yeah. We know, after we've been in practice for a while, who's more likely to grant summary judgment in a particular case. Oh, yeah, you bet. You bet. You better know. You better know. So, Court of Appeals has the case and says, no, the defendant had to do more to to be able to kick this back to the plaintiff, to be able to put this back in the plaintiff's court, the defendant had to show more on motion for summary judgment. That's the way things used to be back before 1985 or whenever this case was decided. Right. Now, summary judgment every single case. Right? You will have a motion for summary judgment. On the plaintiff's side, you will have a motion for summary judgment. You'll have responsive in every single case. Defendants, you will write a motion for summary judgment in virtually every single case. Right? It's kind of the way it goes. Expected. What does the Supreme Court say? First of all, what's the disposition of this case? What does the Supreme Court ultimately do with the case? Reversed and remanded for what? What does it want the Court of Appeals to do on remand? What does it say the Court of Appeals didn't do that it wants it to do on remand?
They want the Court of Appeals to the three documents that they originally would invent, treat them as visible, and decide whether or not that satisfies the intent.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Do those documents have to be? Did you hear what she said? Supreme Court takes it back to the Court of Appeals and says, make a determination, basically, as to whether or not there really is a genuine issue of material fact to be determined at trial, based upon the plaintiff's response. Because that's never been evaluated. That had never been evaluated. So the plaintiff doesn't, even though this is Justice Rehnquist, right? The plaintiff doesn't outright lose. That's kind of what the setup makes you think about this, but that's not true. The case is remanded to the Court of Appeals. I was going to say something else about that. I don't remember what it was. Questions about cell text? Yeah.
I'm still a little confused as to whether or not, can you just, as a defendant, do you have to attach anything? Because you're saying how it used to be one way. How does it, can you just maybe go over how it's changed after cell text? Like,
Yeah. So cell text really represents the reality that we're living in now, which is you don't have to present any affirmative evidence when you're moving for summary judgment if you're the defendant, right? You don't have to attach things. You don't have to put affidavits. Affidavits is the thing. Of course, are really hung up on cell text. You don't have to attach stuff, right? You can simply refer to the record and say, plaintiff hasn't shown enough evidence to make their case. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, if I was going to litigate this case, like, what's the rule? We remember a court case kind of similar with medication that I think I remember taking. It starts with B. And I think
Oh, you want to go like into a market share?
is that what we do for cell text to like prove more likely than not that he?
There's no indication. There's no indication in the case that that argument was made, right? So I don't know, right? Without getting into the filings and the whole, getting into the getting caught in the wheels of the cell text case and what happened in the lower courts, I don't know if that market share type argument was made in this case, or if it would matter in that jurisdiction. That's the short answer to that. It's clear that they don't take it up here. It seems like if that argument were available, or at least had been made in the lower court, then somebody would have taken it up somewhere. It doesn't appear to have been taken up, sir.
So I understand that when you move for motion for summary judgment, you don't have to attach affirmative evidence, but what if you don't even refer to the record? Like, it's just a fair assertion that there's no genuine issue of material fact.
I mean, what if there's no record to refer to? I think cell text stands for the proposition. It's a good question. I think cell text stands for the proposition that still is volleyed back to the plaintiff. It's going to be on the plaintiff. It depends on who your judge is. That's really what it comes down to. If you are defending a case, if you are moving for summary judgment, do you want to attach stuff to your motion for summary judgment? Would you like to be able to present your own evidence to say there is no genuine issue of material fact? Sure you would. Sure you would. Is it a better practice to do that than to just tender the 3-page document that cell text tendered in this case? Sure it is. Sure. Can you bill more hours doing that? Sure. And conversely, you're going to want to do basically what the plaintiff did in this case. And in your response, don't assume too much about whether or not you can establish a genuine issue of material fact. Give the court all the evidence. Don't assume it's in the record either. The court's going to go read the record. Attach it all. Okay? Attach it all to your response. Suss out a couple of type of. Plaintiff files an employment discrimination case, a race case. Into that position of the plaintiff, because the defense attorney knows what they're doing. They say, tell me all the ways in which you think you were discriminated. Right. Scenario number 1. Look at those. Don't look at 200. Just look at one by itself. Well, I was called a racial slur by the manager, and I had some racial slurs left on my chair at work. Defendant, can the defendant move for summary judgment? Start there. Who says yes? I see a variety of responses from people's heads moving in different directions. Who says no? You liars. You saw people with their hands up saying yes, and you're like, oh, I think it's yes. What stops? What would prohibit a defendant from filing a motion for summary judgment? Maybe let's think about that with Jessica.
I mean, here again, they have the ability to file a motion for summary judgment, but it's not going to be granted because there's still a material issue of fact. Because the defense is claiming that this discrimination didn't happen, and the plaintiff is giving a factual case that is like direct counter to that.
You hope, right? You hope it's not going to be granted, but of course they can file it. Of course the defendant can file it. Yeah.
Your other question, what stops it, is strategically, if there's a limit to how many motions for summary judgment you can file, you want to use something else like maybe motion to dismiss or
Well, you would be able to do a motion to dismiss if you're basing it on whether. I mean, I don't think they want to put this stuff in their motion in any motion, right? It's not good for them. But yeah, they can make a motion for summary judgment. And the question is it a good idea? And the answer to that is, who's the judge? Somebody is one of the few judges in America that's really going to throw a look at you if you file a frivolous motion for summary judgment. If not, go for it. Right? But under those circumstances, summary judgment should not be granted, at least in my opinion. My opinion may differ from that of certain federal judges who will remain nameless. Okay, so scenario number 2, plaintiff just says in their deposition, oh, I don't think I was discriminated against at all. I think my boss is just a total asshole. Okay. Defendant files a motion for summary judgment. Obviously, the defendant filed a motion for summary judgment under those circumstances saying there's no genuine issue of material fact because the plaintiff just conceded that there's no case. There was no discrimination. No case is about discrimination. The plaintiff says no discrimination. The more interesting question here is, your plaintiff's counsel, how do you respond to that motion for summary judgment? Because does this happen to you when you're in plaintiff practice? Do you find discrimination work? Oh, yes. Yes, it will. Then you find yourself wishing that you prepared your client a little bit for that position, or at least that your client wasn't such a bum. How do you respond?
I recuse myself.
This is the Kobayashi Maru, right?
I don't think there really is a way that you could respond that will give the motion for summary judgment like denied, because you're, unless you have, you know, I don't think there's a way to respond that will give the motion for summary judgment dismissed.
Anybody else?
The plaintiff is specifically talking about his boss. He can ask about other instances of discrimination. That's true.
Question is, tell me all the ways you were discriminated against. Yeah. Okay. Any other bright ideas? It's not an employment discrimination class. I don't want to get way in the weeds here, right? Number 1, isn't this a legal question? I call for a legal conclusion. Your client may not know all the ways in which they were discriminated against. They may not know. You're going to get hit with this motion for summary judgment. It's going to be hard to overcome. Okay. We establish that. In your first example, you've got direct evidence of discrimination. Okay. That's direct evidence. I say direct evidence to distinguish it from what kind of evidence? Who knows? Yeah, there's direct evidence over here, and there's circumstantial evidence over here. Would you love to have direct evidence in every case? Absolutely. Do you always have direct evidence? No way. Right? Especially non-discrimination type cases, you're often going to have circumstantial evidence. You can respond and say, look, I know what my idiot client said. She doesn't know. She doesn't know what discrimination is. And here's all the other stuff that happened that creates a genuine issue of material fact, whether non-discrimination with her in this case.
Yeah, so beyond, like, with discrimination and beyond, they don't actually, I don't know if it's always like this, but they don't have to necessarily know that they were harmed to actually suffer harm.
Well, I mean, that's something you can argue.
I'm just trying to figure it out.
Yeah, that's something you can argue.
You have to know.
Sometimes you can't, right? I guess that's unemployment discrimination class. I love to teach one. Maybe we'll do it someday. But sometimes you can't, right? Like a failure to hire type situation, you don't know. The Ledbetter case, have you guys read that in Convo? Or heard of it at least? The Ledbetter
Heard of
case?
it in lawsuits.
That discrimination, that pay discrimination was going on for years before she figured it out. Okay? So you always know when the harm occurred. All right. Scenario number 3. The point is on number 2 is that if you're the plaintiff, you got to respond to that. Pull out all the stops. Okay? You're the defendant. Really easy. Here's the testimony. Here's the testimony. You say, well, discrimination. Number 3. I can't remember you right now. I don't remember. I don't remember all. You can't remember a single way in which you were discriminated against? No, sure don't. Sorry. Very nervous deposition. Deposition make people nervous. Can the defendant file a motion for summary judgment under those circumstances? Of course, we know they can, but is it a good idea? What's your defense have? You take a deposition of the plaintiff. The plaintiff says, I don't remember any way I was discriminated against. Do you file a motion for summary judgment under those circumstances? Who says yes? Who says no? Would. Well, we know you can't. And realistically speaking, depending on the size of the firm, we know you will. Right? Bill a lot of hours. File a motion for summary judgment. Yes. Okay. What? Who says no, you wouldn't? Why not?
I wouldn't want them coming up with any evidence that would be bad for me. Right? So
You think that's going to happen at the summary judgment stage?
Well, like, shifting the option on it down, they'll go back, I have another deposition. Be like, oh yeah, I was fired because I was.
Maybe discovery's already over. Discovery's already over with. But we'll get to that. Yeah.
Maybe just like the Facilitas case, they don't have to attach anything. They just say that there's no issue to a fact.
Here's the plaintiff's deposition. She says she can't remember any instances of discrimination. Look, you got to come up with something. You got to come up with something if you want to pass summary judgment. So we get this case to a jury. That's right.
But wouldn't that mean that they're still, because she can't remember, there is a material issue with that? Because this seems a weird position where both parties are like, we have no idea where they have to go from here.
Yeah, but whose burden is it? Whose burden?
Plaintiff's.
So if you're the defendant, you don't shift that right back onto the plaintiff. In an attempt to short circuit the litigation before you put your client through the expensive trial. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Maybe look for another line of work. You're not doing business, right? Definitely file a motion for summary judgment in that scenario, but you're the plaintiff, how do you respond? That's tricky too, right?
That's why I said no, because I feel like as a plaintiff, that's gonna the motion may help you remember really quick.
Well, you still have the testimony. So I mean, the way that if you think 2 steps ahead, then that makes sense. But if you think 3 steps ahead, then all right, well, what if we have a trial? Now I've got the plaintiff's testimony, which says she couldn't remember anything in February, but now it's April, and all of a sudden she can remember all these instances of discrimination.
I'm gonna argue emotional distress. Like at that time, it was fresh. She, was locking something out. I don't know, but
You can argue
she's
it.
been in therapy. And,
You can argue
well,
it.
we don't want to say that. That would,
Well,
that
you might want to say. You might want to say. If you're really talking about emotional distress, then you might want to say. Because you're going to have to get out of this one. You're right. You're going to have to get out of this one because the defendant is going to club your client over the head because you couldn't remember anything in February. You couldn't remember any instances of discrimination. You brought a lawsuit for discrimination, Jessica.
Just the first thing that this motion was under after the discovery case is completed, they do have all these like documents and like affidavits that could, if you combine together, overcome
Sure.
that. Like, I can't remember anything right now. It's like, well, maybe at that point you don't have to because we have all this documentation.
Can you attach an affidavit from your client and say, oh, all of a sudden she remembers all these different? instances of discrimination. Can you attach something like that to your response for summary judgment? To supplement her testimony? Sure you can. Sure you can. And you better. You better. I'm gonna jump over these. Let's look at a couple of these problems because there's a very good chance that one of these summary judgment problems ends up on your final. So problem number 1 on page 582, you have a trespass suit. Defendant admits in the pleadings she's on the plaintiff's property, but says, look, I had a good faith belief that I wasn't trespassing, so I should just be not liable. What's the procedural device that you want to use? You're the plaintiff. You file a what kind of motion to avoid the necessity of trial on liability? Yeah.
Doesn't it have to be summary judgment?
Why?
Because if you're plaintiff, you don't do Rule 12.
You probably aren't going to do a Rule 12b motion, but I think 12c. 12c is a good way to go. 12c is, what is it? 12c, what do we call it? It requires us to remember stuff that we covered a few days ago. Motion for judgment on the plea. Motion for judgment on the plea. The defendant has already admitted in their answer that they did the trespassing. They're wrong about the law. What else do you need to establish liability? Now, if you go beyond the pleadings, you want to present proof that is beyond the pleadings, then that's a summary judgment motion. That's the distinction. Yes. If you go beyond what's in the pleadings, you're no longer in Rule 12 land, because remember Rule 12d. Right? You go beyond the pleadings, and the court's going to convert it to a motion for summary judgment. You start talking about other evidence, arguing other facts. But don't appear in the pleadings. The court's going to convert it to a motion for summary judgment. Right? You may not want that, but if you can keep it within the pleadings, a motion for judgment on the pleadings works nicely here. Does that make sense to everybody?
This is kind of a tangent. Is 12C, how is it different from like a bench trial, or is it a bench trial, or?
So how's 12c different from a bench trial?
I mean, well, because what I'm saying is on both the judge is making the determination, right? Not the jury.
Yes. Well, what you're saying you're saying.
Is it procedurally saying?
Well, it's procedurally.
Or different, I mean, substantively.
Procedurally, for a motion for summary judgment or a motion for, you file your motion and you with the court and you wait for an opinion and you get your opinion, and then if you win, if you're the plaintiff, you're going to go have a trial on damages, right?
Yeah.
So no, it's not really different in terms of how it all plays out. I mean, in terms of the substance of the motion, you file a 12c. You're saying that there really is no dispute here, right? If things are exactly as the pleadings say they are, then I win. Right? The court doesn't need to resolve any issues of fact. The summary judgment motion is saying there are issues of fact present, right? Not when purely as a matter of law, but when you look at the facts that are in the record, it's not enough to get to a jury. If it's enough to get to a jury, then the jury looks at two competing versions of the facts and decides which one they like better.
And then
The issue's
on
judged
trial,
not.
the judge, and on this trial, is the judge still
The judge is performing the jury function in the bench trial. The judge is performing the, okay, so yeah, I think that's your question. The judge is going to evaluate the facts and decide which version of the facts she likes better in a bench trial, right? But on a motion for summary judgment, it's technically different, right? Because you're saying there's not enough to even get to trials where you have to evaluate these two competing versions of the facts. Yeah.
After somebody files a 12C, I know we probably heard this question before, 12C motion, can you amend the pleadings? Like, if you say that you want judgment on the pleadings, then they can go back and change the pleadings?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you can't do that after motion for summary judgment, or?
Well, by then you probably, you could, because you file a motion for summary judgment at any time. And Rule 15 will allow you, and it'll give you some leeway to amend as a matter of course, right? So you could conceivably, as a plaintiff, you file your complaint, you get hit with a motion for summary judgment, right? Why would you get hit with a motion for summary judgment right off the bat? Well, because the defendant wants to talk about stuff that's outside the record. So, I'm the plaintiff in a trespass case. I file a complaint. The defendant immediately files a motion for summary judgment saying that's not your property and attaches a deed proving it's not my property to begin with. So I have no standing to file suit. Okay? That's a summary judgment motion. I could then, as a matter of right under Rule 15, amend the pleading and say, actually, I was just kidding. I was talking about this different property. And the address wrong in the complaint, something stupid like that. Right? It's a terrible typo. You get what I'm saying. Similar, right? Trespass. Defendant says, she owns the land. And he tweaks this hypothetical just a little bit from what it is in the book. Plaintiff has incontrovertible proof that the land belongs to him in the form of a recorded deed. Defendant doesn't have any proof other than her conclusory statement in her answer. What's the motion? Can you do this as the plaintiff? Can you do this in the 12b6? Motion to dismiss for failure to state claim. Go ahead.
I'm saying no because it goes beyond the pleading, so he's on the question.
Summary judgment, yeah. That's the point, right? You go beyond the pleadings. Go beyond the pleadings, you want to use summary judgment. Now, the interesting thing is, on this one, I mean, can the plaintiff file a motion for summary judgment instead of Rule 12c? Sure. Why not? Right? Why not? But why not is the question, right? You might not want to for some strategic reason. For example, you only get one bite of the apple on summary judgment. This is a tricky one. Defendant makes representations about future prospects of a corporation. Claim for fraud requires proof that the defendant knew the statements were false. So plaintiff presents evidence that the defendant made a statement to the effect that No, I know this is fraudulent. I know this is bullshit. I know what I'm saying. I know what I've said about this. Or, it's not a good way to put it. I know that the corporation is going to be in the tank. The corporation doesn't have a rosy future as I've said. But it happens, that statement happens 2 weeks after the defendant says to the plaintiff, this corporation's got a great future. So, plaintiff uncovers evidence somehow, through interrogatories, through depositions, through something or other. There was a statement made by the defendant 2 weeks after the representation that the corporation is doing great, to the effect that the corporation is actually doing lousy. Okay? The defendant moves for summary judgment. How is this likely to play out?
I think the court will deny the motion.
Why?
Because under the there's nothing that says anything about like the time frame that the defendant has to know. It just says it has to know. So there's still like, it's hard to explain.
It is. That's why we're doing this. But I see what you're saying. Who disagrees with her? But
I disagree, but I say it will depend on the judge, because while there's a
It's always
genuine,
the
well, while there's a genuine, I feel like there's a genuine issue of material fact, if we're looking at it in the light most favorable to the defendant, then it, well, no, it's to the
To the
plaintiff.
plaintiff.
Well, to the plaintiff, well, then it'll go for not granting the motion.
so you don't disagree, right?
Yeah. Like,
Disagree or not disagree, they're both fine.
Yes. Just because you knew 2 weeks after doesn't mean you also know 2 weeks before when you made the statement. So it's still a genuine issue of material facts. So
Yes.
you have to make it or not.
I think that's a good takeaway from this, right? If there are inferences to be drawn by the court about the facts, can the court infer that the defendant knew, based on what they said 2 weeks later, right? Can the court infer that the defendant knew that what they were saying 2 weeks before about the corporation was doing great was bullshit? Can the court infer that? Must the court infer that? They should. They should. There's no must here, but they should, right? Because they're drawing inferences in favor of the non-moving party. Okay? So put yourself in the shoes of a plaintiff that has to respond to this motion. The defendant says, no genuine issue of material fact here. The only statement we have comes 2 weeks after the representation was made to the plaintiff. And you say, yeah, that demonstrates that they probably knew when they made that statement that what they were saying was bullshit. Okay? That's in essence what your response to it. Does that make sense? It's a little corny. Go back over that problem. We can talk about it more if you want. How are you? Make sure that you really know how to use that. All right. We'll skip 7. All right, look, I want to see your motions, so take just a couple minutes. Hopefully you haven't been working on them the entire time of the lecture, but take a couple minutes here and we'll start looking at these. I'll bring you over the whole for that.